how to get confidence with the parallel parking. Confidence just comes from having a simple, consistent method, so you don't have to change anything. And as long as you stick to that system, you know you're going to be able to get the same position every single time. So what I suggest, I've tried a few methods over the years, the method I'll show you now is probably the simplest and the easiest to be consistent with. You just have to control your speed, and that just comes from real gentle clutch use and having your 2 feet ready in a good feet placement position. I'd suggest over your 2 left pedals. So your right foot, forget about your gas pedal, your right foot wants to be just over your brake pedal. So that if you need to brake, you've got that confidence of braking immediately rather than having that half a second gap from moving your foot over from your gas pedal over to your brake pedal. So that can be the difference between feeling confident or not. So I would always have my right foot just over your brake pedal. You know, unless you're going uphill, and then you're going to have to find a biting point. But you know, for the purpose of today, we'll just talk about flat, level surface. Don't bother with your gas pedal; it just overcomplicates things. You want to move the car as slow as you possibly can. So when you're ready to move, literally a tiny bit of clutch up until you just feel a little bit of power being allowed to release through to the wheels, and your wheels just start moving, and that's as quick as you need to go. Move it as slow as you can, and you'll find you get really accurate. As soon as you start putting 1 or 2 more miles an hour on, all goes horribly wrong. So move the car really slow, get your feet position sorted, and make sure it's safe by doing loads of observations, which I'll show you how to do in a second. So, car up there we're going to have a go with, and we'll just talk you through it as we're doing. So we're going to pull away from the left hand side, so just make sure there's no one around. Obviously when you pull off it's going to be like the M1, so you're just going to have to wait for all the cars that have just appeared when you sat here for half an hour. There's nothing, but still. We're going to go up towards the car, parked at the side of the road. We're going to pull up next to it and halfway past it, and we're going to be about a metre away on that side. So if I was sat in the passenger seat, open the window, I couldn't quite touch it if I put my arm out. That's the sort of distance you need to be nice and safe. So let's have another look. Nothing around at all. I'm not going to bother signalling because there's nothing to benefit from. The car just in front of me by a nice bit of pavement, so I'm going to pull up parallel to it, metre away from it, and halfway past. As soon as I've stopped, I'm going to put it in reverse straight away and just have a good look all the way around. So I say put it in reverse straight away because if anyone comes behind you, the first thing they're going to see is your reverse lights, and hopefully they'll stand back, give you a bit of space, rather than coming right up behind you so you won't be able to do anything. So to move all the way around, all your blind spots, physically look out the back window, feet over those 2 left pedals, really gently bring that clutch up just until a little bit of power goes through the wheels and freeze, so you start moving backwards. You want to move back in a straight line until your back seat gets level with the back of the car. When it is, 1 turn of your steering wheel to the left, because we're going around to the left curb. Keep looking around all the way as you're doing it. When you get to a 45-degree angle, halfway, straighten your wheel up, go back in a straight line towards the curb, and when you get to a suitable reference point, which I'll tell you about in a minute, you just turn the wheel 1 turn to the right, keep looking around as you're going, and then stop when you're level with the curb and straighten your wheel. Let me just reposition to get out of the way of people and make sure we're okay. And it really is as simple as that, as long as you're going slow and you're making sure you're safe as you're going back, with loads of observations. So what have we done there? We pulled up parallel with and halfway past a parked car. Now why have I gone halfway past and not just stopped level with it? Halfway past gives you a couple of seconds just to sort out you've got that nice safe clutchy up, really slow crawly speed while you're moving back. If you pull up level with the car first off, personally I think it's too much of a rush, because as you're just about moving you're thinking, oh, do I need to think about steering already? That halfway past just gives you that little settlement time to have a good look round, make sure you've got your speed sorted, you're not going to get caught out suddenly going downhill or something, and just gets you settled before you think, right, where am I going to steer, so you can get it nice and accurately. I say come back until your back seat is level with the back of the car, or whatever the part of the car is that's face this way. Get my words out. Because most of the time back wheels are underneath your back seat. So if you start going round on your axle, if you like, on your back wheels, you're not going to get too close to the back of the car. You have to worry about clipping it when you steer to get your front in. So back seat level with the back of the car. One turn of your steering wheel the way the bum of the car is going to go. So if you just personify the car, think of it a person, because people get confused about the steering. Which way is the bum of the car going to move? It's going to go towards the curb, so I'm going to steer left. So one turn of the wheel left, and the bum of the car is going to go towards the curb. Really slow. That's your most vulnerable part. So you're going to start sticking out the opposite side of the road because your front's going to start swinging out. So that's when you've got to look over your right shoulder, because if ever you're going to miss someone on a bike or a moped or a scooter or something, it's going to be then. So make sure you know what's coming in that blind spot as you're going around. So go back nice and slow, roughly halfway around, 45-degree angle, whatever you want to call it. That's when you don't want to go any further. You can judge sort of when halfway is or 45 degrees. I sort of sometimes look in your near side or your left-hand side wing mirror, side mirror, when the back wheel arch, you know, the bit of the body that sticks out over your back wheel, when the top of that looks like it's just lined up with a curb, that's where I know I'm pretty much 45 degrees. So that's just a little visual sort of reference point, if you like, you can try. So when you get to that stage, you've got your wheels at a slight angle. Bring your wheel back round, so one turn to the right to straighten your wheels up, and then you're going to go back really slowly at that 45-degree angle that you've chosen until you get to a reference point where you know if you do that one turn to the right, you're going to come nicely parallel with the curb. So the reference point is vital. Loads of people use different things. Doesn't really matter what you use, as long as you practice it half a dozen times and you realise what that view is that you want to see when you turn. So for me, I just use the door handle. So I position my side mirror so that I can see the door handle, which obviously when you look in the wing mirror is sort of like a C shape against the door. So when I see the curb looking as if it's, you know, just about coming to the middle of the door handle as I'm going backwards, when the top edge of the curb, the bit that if you had a few drinks and fell over and smacked your head on it, that bit that really hurt, that top edge, when it looks as if it's right in the middle of your door handle, that's when I just do one turn to the right. And if you're accurate, it should bring you in beautifully parallel with the curb. And you know, you want about a drain width gap between you and the curb. You don't want to be brushing up against the curb and scraping your wheels and scraping your tyres. So whatever you want to use. When I use a door handle, some people use, as you're going back at a 45-degree angle, you'll see a little triangle of road surface that will gradually get smaller and smaller and smaller as you get near the pavement. Some people use that as a reference point of, I don't know, when the road surface just disappears from your wing mirror, or there might be a little bit left. So it's whatever's personal to you. If you do it 2, 3, 4 times, you'll know the exact point where if you turn right, you know you're going to be in the exact same position. So just work out what it is for you. And unless you do a job where you drive a different car, a different size car every single day, pretty much most people drive the same car most of the time. So you'll get to know exactly when you need to do that one turn to get yourself nicely in line with the curb. And when you've done it half a dozen times, you can do it 1,000 times out of 1,000. It's so accurate, as long as you're going really slow. And you're using those, you know, your feet position to make sure you're comfortable. And as long as, if you're not just doing it behind one car, if you're parking a bay between 2 cars, just make sure the bay's bigger than your car, obviously. So you want something like 1.5 times the size of your car. And as long as you're really careful and slow, that method will get you in a bay every single time. Don't worry about people around you. Spot your bay, go nice and slow. Put an indicator on if there's someone behind you, so hopefully they've got a bit of civility and they don't just come straight up behind you, like some people do. If they do, hey ho, it's their problem, not yours. Just go and find another bay. But hopefully someone has the civility to just to hold back. Put your reverse lights on as soon as you can. Put a left signal on just to enforce it if you think it's going to do any good. And just take your time. Don't rush it. People generally don't mind if you go really slow, as long as you get it in. And then, you know, all their misgivings and the cynicisms, it'll disappear and they'll think, oh, that was good, and forget about you. People get the raving ump on if you go in, out, and you don't get it right because you've gone too quick. So just take your time. And that's the key to your consistency. Really slow car.